Hi, folks. Basil Chapman sitting in for Tommy O'Brien in the Tom O'Brien Show on this Tuesday, the 10th of June. This is very interesting. We suddenly had a big spike up. The Dow's up 125 at 42,887. It made a new recovery high today. We've been waiting for that. I don't want to get too technical. I'll do that in my show tomorrow, the Tiger Technicians Hour. That's at 10 o'clock every weekday morning, 10 to 11 Eastern Time. But just real quickly, because it'll help you in what we're looking at here. I always look for the lowest low bar, then count each successively higher peak, alphabetize them sequentially. A, next peaks B, C, D, E, F, and G, but it's that fourth highest peak, peak D, that is the objective in a buy signal that gets upgraded to a buy mode. From that moment on, you've achieved your goal, and then you see whether or not you get a recycle to go higher, or this is where there's a pullback. And that's exactly where we are right now. We've gone by 1 penny. We went above excuse me, the 42,924 high of yesterday. Today's high is 42,925.94. This is starting that leg D, all within this rectangle formation, walking the 9-period moving average. I'll stop waving my mouse right here. I'll show you this. See that green line above the 14? That's look at that fantastic thing. Even when the market pulled back, the Dow pulled back so sharply under the black 14-period moving average, it remained green, which acts like a spring that says, I'm going to go right back. But it doesn't tell you how high, it just says, I'm going right back over the green and the black 14-period moving averages. The MACD is just flat. It's slightly positive right now. So that's a positive. The gray line right here is relative strength. Stochastics back over 80% and 83%. That's good. And the blue line is the on-balance volume, and that's just weakening a little bit. And let's go to the S&P. So the weekly charts are also very strong. Let's go to the S&P. The S&P right now is trading up 33 points. That's 6,039, made a new recovery high in the same pattern. I don't want to go into the technicals yet. We'll do that again tomorrow in detail. But look at that 9-period moving average holding very well. We have taken just the tiniest little short position, one of our first short positions in quite a while. We did it about a week and a half ago. Just got a 1% loss, and we were out of it, and that's it. Now we're going to try again to see whether or not at this particular point we get some kind of a sell-off. But in order to get a sell-off that is meaningful, the market has to take news and treat it as bad news. And then that bad news has to filter throughout the market. It has to be on the news. It has to be whatever it is, tariffs, whatever it has to be repeated over and over and over. And the market has to take a dive with the Dow down 500 points, the S&P down about 68, the NASDAQ sharply lower, semiconductor, everything's going down. We just don't have that right now. So this is just like a feeler position. We've had only longs. We're still long, aggressively long the Dow, but we're waiting to see if there's going to be some kind of a pullback, or we just go immediately for the S&P to the 6147.43 all-time high that was made. Look right there, the week of. That was the week of February the 21st. We went to an all-time high and pulled back very sharply from 6147 down to the 4800s, and then swoosh, we go all the way back. And now we're very close to an all-time high, certainly a recovery high, with today's high of 6,043.01. That is very good action at this particular point. QQQ, that's the Index 100 trading vehicle. And that is the Investor QQ Trust Series is trading in leg C with a brand new buy signal. So that 534.52 up 382. That if it's going to make a D, it can't do that until there's a lower high bar. That'll be maybe all of tomorrow if there's no high throughout the day tomorrow from today's high. And then you can have a big pop to the upside for leg D. So far, this is still positive. The technicals are good. Stochastics, 86%. I like that. So we'll see what impacts the NASDAQ to drag it down. So far, nothing. There's still a leg A from that low that was made. Unbelievable in the 400 area. And here we are at 534, still in one leg to the upside. Excuse me, frog in the throat. The high today of 534.90 is just 6 points, less than 6 points from an all-time high. Isn't that amazing? IWM, the Russell 2000, this is the small caps. Russell 2000, we've been waiting to see when it'll finally start to play leadership role. Here it is. Look, it's up very nicely, up $1.18, $1.20 at 214.55, above the 200-period moving average. That 200-period moving average has been tremendous resistance. It's the first time it's gone above it since it broke down back on the 21st of April when it was up in the 226 area, and now hugging the orange line, which is 200-period moving average, and then suddenly the last 3 sessions popped above it. That is a good sign. That's very important. So just before we go on, I want to mention the XLF. That's the S&P Financial Select Financial Spider Fund, is up just 3 cents, but the KRE, let me have a sip of tea here. There you are. Look how nicely that's done. For the first time, it's broken the trend line, holding the trend line, the weekly chart. So maybe what we've got here is a rotation that stocks like a GE down sharply, down 9 points. After making an all-time high just 3 sessions ago, 257 is now 242. Robinhood, also a leader for weeks and weeks and weeks, goes to 77.80. Actually went to 80 over after the close on Friday. Then it was known that it was not going to be included in the S&P, so it pulled back sharply. Still holding very well, but has pulled back. And I'm looking at some of these stocks and I'm saying, wow, if these biggies are now starting to take a breather, it's great that we've got a rotation. And I've been looking at the S&P 500 to the Russell 2000. That relationship of large to small stocks is the same as you look at when you're going from the S&P Select Financials with the JP Morgan, the huge bank stocks, financials, and you've got the KRE, which is the regional banks. You need to have regional banks doing well so that you can get a nice broad market. Maybe that's happening finally. Oh, I didn't get to gold. Gold is down just 7 points. Silver's down 13 cents. We'll be back in a moment, and a little later we'll have some more. And that should be wonderful to have Tim to discuss the market. We'll be back in a moment. Basil Chapman sitting in for Tommy O'Brien in the Tom.
If you spend any time online researching trading